Alright guys, so as you can see, I've already gone through this box here, but I did get a package in the mail today. So this is going to be the newest addition to the 335. So I went with the stock location, black market parts manifold, with port injection obviously. So here are the 6 additional 750cc Bosch injectors. I've already kind of gone through everything just because I'm going to start doing the install today. It did actually come with manifold gaskets, which is nice. I ordered some from FCP just in case, but it did come with a set of them, so that's cool. This is the bag with all the fittings and block offs that I'm going to need. So I already put one in here, but I'm going to put some thread tape on these so they don't leak. But I'm going to be blocking off these top ports since I'm not going to be running meth injection or anything like that. Here is the certificate for the injectors, just showing the flow rates and that they, pass. Here is the top mount fuel, the fuel rail connection. So this connects in between the low pressure and high pressure line, I believe. And then this will thread onto the new fuel rail. So I'm going to put one of the fittings in the side there, and then the block off on this side. And that'll sit right above where the injectors go and these front ones. But yeah, overall the quality of this is really, really nice. I personally like how this one looks over the front facing one. The stock location manifold, in my opinion, just looks a little bit better. And then I do have the split second AIC controller there for the additional injectors. Comes with some stickers. But yeah, overall, everything was packaged really, really nicely. So we can go ahead and start the install on this guy, and then I can go into a little overview of the car, show you guys what's all new, what's changed so far, and give you like just overall basic kind of overview of what we're going to be doing for spring. So yeah, we can go ahead and get started on this. Alright, so I went ahead and did some of the just more basic stuff because it's very self-explanatory. So what I did is I'm going to pick out like the extra thread tape that's peeking through because I have pink thread tape, so it doesn't look very good. But just put thread tape or thread locker on the block offs for the meth injection. So I have those screwed in. Again, very easy. Like this part is just kind of self-explanatory. And then on the back side here, same thing. Put thread locker on the block offs if you use them. If you're using the vacuum fittings, put thread locker on that too. So I just have this pink thread tape again. So I blocked off these 3, and I'm waiting for my fitting to come in the mail for this one. The only one I'm going to be using off the manifold is a 1/8 barb and 1/8 MPT for here. So I'm just waiting for that to come in before I put this on the car. So then for the front here, what you do is, so you lube up the yellow O-ring on the injectors, and then you pop them in. You pop them in these little bungs here for the manifold. So you, like I said, lube those up with oil. I just have like a little cup of oil right there. Put them in to that bottom part. So then what you're going to want to do after that is lube up the top O-ring. So the blue one that's on the top of each of the injectors, and then push down the fuel rail on top of them. So then once you push down the fuel rail, it'll pretty much look like that. Then you're going to want to take the 4 longer screws, push them through the bit larger opening on the fuel rail. So once you push them through, they thread into this back plate here, and then it'll kind of adjust where it needs to sit. And then you take the 2 shorter screws and just screw them into the manifold. So once you do that, the manifold is pretty much together. Again, if you have the right fitting, you can be done with that right away. I just have to wait a little bit for mine to come in. So yeah, once that's done, the manifold will be pretty much done. Then I just have to tighten this fitting for the connection of this. So this is going to be the back, and then it'll connect there, and then this will connect to the fuel line. So I'm going to have to get a bigger wrench to tighten this because I do not have a big enough one. It's like a 22 millimeter or something. And then on this side, it's just going to be the block off. Again, I need a bigger wrench to tighten these, but that you're just going to block off because we won't be connecting anything there. And then you can see right there, there's a 17 millimeter block off. Since I'm not running a fuel return here, you just block off that middle port. So that would be if you were gonna run a fuel return. So if you're not, this is in between the 5th and 6th runner. You just thread that in there and tighten it. But yeah, once you do all that, the manifold is pretty much ready to go into the car. I'm gonna go more in depth on how to install the AIC controller because there's really no video on how to do that. This part's a little bit easier. You know, it's just pretty much self-explanatory. You can just kind of put it together very easy. So yeah, that's the block off port that I still have to put into this end. But yeah, overall, very, very easy to do this part. Other than that, that's going to be the part that's more difficult. We'll plug each one of these injectors into the controller and then wire it into the ECU. And then, yeah, I'll kind of go over how to reconnect everything up. I'm still waiting on the throttle body gasket, so I'll pick the video back up once everything comes in the mail. All right, so what we're gonna be going at here, let's see if I can zoom in. So that quick connect for the fuel line is where we're gonna be teeing off the fuel line to go to the port injection fuel rail. So I'm gonna grab a flathead and just push that off as hard as I can. This is kind of a pain in the ass. So once we get that off, then you stick this end back into place where the fuel line went, and then the other male end into here, into this end. And then this will kind of just chill in the back here to thread onto the manifold. So yeah, it'll kind of just fit right in there like that. So yeah, grab a flathead and just try and pry that off. Once I get it off, I'll see if I can show any tips on how to do that. All right, so as you can see, I did manage to get it off. If you try and just use your fingers, it's literally impossible to get off. But once you grab a flathead and put one finger on the left side and then the flathead on the right side of it, and just push really hard, it pops right off. You'll want to make sure that the car's been sitting, or you know, relieve fuel pressure, because as you can see, my car's been sitting for a little bit. A little bit of fuel came out, but nothing crazy. So you'll definitely want to let the car sit for a little bit and depressurize so a whole bunch of fuel doesn't spray out. So yeah, we'll get the line in between there. Like I said, you literally just push this into the fuel line and then the male end into this, and then we'll just route this into the back there. All right. So as you can see, I have the fuel line in there now. It's kind of hard to get my camera in here, but you click the male end into the existing fuel line, and then you push back on that quick connect fitting. So you hold that fitting back, push it on to the male end, and then that'll click, and then you let go of the quick connect, and then it doesn't really sound like it's connecting, but you can pull on it a few times. It is connected. So I just have this routed back here. So that'll be for to fuel, or to bring fuel to the top mount fuel rail. So that's all good. We're pretty much done in here. There's just this looks so messy, but yeah. So that is done. Now you can go ahead and work on actually putting the manifold on and getting that all good to go. I used a 1-inch socket. Let's see, I believe this is 1 inch. Yeah, 1-inch socket. It was a 12-point. That fit perfectly. You know, it didn't strip it or anything at all. It was a perfect fit. So everything on here is tightened and ready to go. The fuel line is already in the car waiting to be threaded onto that. We can get that done. So all that's left is to put the MAF sensor in there with the 2 bolts included. So I'll do that right now, and then we can throw it in the car and see how it looks. All right, so my fitting ended up coming in the mail. Excuse all the excess thread tape. You won't see this, so I don't really care how it looks underneath here. So I have my 1/8 MPT to 1/8 barb fitting. This is going to be for the boost controller. For the boost reference to that, to the rest of them I just have blocked off. And then again, make sure you tighten the 17 millimeter. Mine, yeah, make sure it has the gasket on there. As you can see, mine, I might have over tightened it very slightly. Mine's kind of peeling away here, but whatever. Should be sealed. So these have O-rings on them, so those are tight. And then once we get this in the car, I'll tighten the fuel fitting onto here. And then yeah, now that that's in, we are ready to put it in the car. All right, so we got the manifold into the car. Just reconnect all the basic stuff like the MAF sensor. Make sure if you unplugged anything down there to re-plug it back in. Like the low pressure fuel pump sensor, I unplugged the high pressure fuel pump, the starter, so plug all that back in. I connected all the injectors to the connectors, and then routed this under the strut bar. I'm gonna probably end up just cutting one of these rubber grommets and sticking this down in there so that the DME cover goes back on. And then as far as the wiring goes, I just use the posi taps again, same as like the GFB controller. So the green wire from the AIC box is gonna connect to one of the yellow wires from the bigger black connector. So that's pin 10 off the large black connector from the big DME connector. And then this one, so the yellow wire from the AIC controller is gonna go to pin 21 on the small gray sub connector, which is the one on the right side. So you just pop these up, pull out the sub connector so you get the right pin, and then just follow the wire back so that way you can tap them in a better location. So we have those 2 done. Then we are going to do the red wire for power for the AIC. I need a bigger tap connector, but you're gonna tap one of these 2 orange wires going into the power for the DME. And then the ground, we're gonna just crimp to one of these like
spade connectors that you just used.
So yeah, you're gonna want to use just like one of those spade connectors. We have more, so just crimp it to this black ground wire, and then we're gonna either ground it to this nut for on the strut tower, or probably like one of these nuts up here. We haven't figured it out yet, but we'll update you guys. But yeah, that's gonna be all the wiring for that. So like I said, pin 10 on the bigger black connector, pin 21 on the small gray connector, and then ground and power for the red and black. And then you pretty much just route it under the strut bar there and connect them to the manifold. All right, what's up guys? So we are back here on a new day. So I'm gonna be tapping this power wire now for the red wire from the AIC controller. I have my my bigger taps here. So we're gonna be using this end to tap into the thicker power wire there. And the power for the AIC is gonna go into this end, and we'll screw it down. I'm gonna see if I can set the camera up to show you how to do that, because I know I've been using a lot of these tap connectors and never really show you how to actually use them. So I'm gonna see if I can show you how to use them here. They're very, very simple. And then for extra security, I think what I'm gonna do is actually wrap these connections in electrical tape. Water, I'm not gonna believe water should get in here, but you never know. Since I am gonna be cutting this, just in case, I think I'm gonna wrap the connections in electrical tape just to be extra safe. So yeah, let me see if I can go ahead and set up the camera to show you how we're gonna tap this wire here. All right, so I totally kind of screwed up the footage on that last clip, but we got this power wire tapped here with the power wire going directly here. So I'm gonna see if I can tuck this out of the way for the DME lid, and then we'll go from there. So now that the power wire is done, we just have to crimp a terminal connector to this ground wire. And I'm gonna be grounding it. Right to this nut here. So there's a chassis ground there. We're gonna be making just another terminal connection like this one, and then using that same ground there. Alrighty, so now just to kind of go over again, we have the power tapped here for the AIC. I hope the DME cover fits over this. That might be our only fitment issue, but we will see. These two are good, and then for the power or the ground wire, what I did is I slipped the box down into this empty compartment here. I put it through this big chunk of rubber here. What I'm gonna do for this is fit this in here because I cut a little slit out of that. So I'm not really too worried about water here because that fills up the gap. And then I cut a small opening. Let me see if I can get a better shot of this. You can kind of see there. Let me zoom in. So I cut a slit into the grommet there for the wiring. And then I just have that. That's gonna be crimped to a terminal, which is gonna go to that nut right there. So we'll go ahead and grab a loop terminal connector from my kit and get that crimped to that. And then we'll put the terminal onto the ground there, and then that'll be it for the AIC wiring. Then I'm just gonna wait to get a custom tune for my tuner for the AIC, and then yeah, everything will be all set. All right, so we're getting closer to the end here now. So I have the DME cover back on. So I have the ground wire that we're gonna be tapping here with plenty of slack. If I have too much, I'm gonna feed this a little bit further back into the DME and then zip tie it to this. I'm probably gonna heat wrap this too or something, so that way the downpipe doesn't burn it, because it is gonna be pretty close to the downpipe here. But other than that, I'm gonna zip tie these either to the fuel rail or like tuck it down underneath it so it looks a little bit cleaner. But I have the excess just routed back here with all the other wire looms and everything like that. I'm gonna zip tie this cable from the max solenoid just along the strut bar here, and then pull it snug over here so it's out of the way. But overall, the manifold looks really, really, really good. Yeah, it looks awesome. So this is kind of about what the finished product is gonna look like. I still have to put the throttle body and the charge pipe on and everything. I also still have to figure out what I'm gonna do with this, because I have no idea where to put that. I did have the bracket from the alternator housing, but that now it does not work because this manifold is too big. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with that. Other than that, the vacuum line from the boost controller is hooked up. So that's connected to, let me see if I can find it, the fitting right there off the manifold. Yeah, so then this is my throttle body adapter. So I have my blow-off valve ran off of this, as well as the vacuum side catch can. So that pulls vacuum there, which I now realize that I have to tighten the fittings for. So yeah, now that everything is pretty much done, all I have left to do is, like I've said this 100 times already, but crimp a terminal connector to that ground wire. And then yeah, we'll just have to load a tune on it when the time comes. I'm obviously not going to be driving this car until spring, because it's going to get snowy here soon in Illinois. So I have plenty of time to work on the car and figure out what I'm going to be doing to it. So yeah, I'll pick back up with you guys when I get that fitting. Alrighty, so this is the finished product. As you can see here, I put the wire, crimped it right onto the connector here. I'm gonna wrap this in electrical tape just so that's not exposed there. And then with these, they're nice. You can just apply heat and it shrinks down to the wire to insulate it. So this is done. This is a 10mm nut here. You just pop that off, and then we are going to feed this right over top of that, and then we'll put the nut right back down on that, and then everything will be done. And then I'm just gonna route this as far away from I can from the downpipe, and then yeah, everything else is done. So then just a quick overview. Again, this is the black market parts intake manifold with port injection. I'm gonna route this a little bit cleaner, but for the most part, that's gonna be the full DIY. Again, all the wiring is done. I'll link the diagram in case this video isn't good enough. I'll put the diagram in the description so you can go over the wiring again. We'll put that nut back on, and then yeah, we'll just give you one more overlook at the engine bay here. Obviously it's incomplete because I still have to do that, but this is pretty self-explanatory for how to do. But yeah, that's gonna be the full wiring DIY for that, as well as a good idea on how to put this in. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely make sure to leave it a like, comment if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And yeah, definitely make sure you subscribe for more content. We're going to be doing plenty more videos on this car. I have more stuff that I am going to be doing to it. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned and then subscribe for those videos.